Well, casinos are a business. I mean, they're an investment. So you have investors saying, we want a return on our dollar, and here's our dollar, go out and start an enterprise that's going to bring in money. And so it's clear that this is a private enterprise that's come alongside some of our government people saying, hey, would you promote this so that we can pay for the debts of the state? And that's just a serious business for the state to get into. In fact, as I said before, if it's that good, then we ought to have it open and let any casino come in, or we ought to actually run it ourselves and have 100% of the profits. But to actually have a for-profit gambling company come in and have opportunity to take money out of Ohio just seems to be the wrong thing to do.
Well, and the ads that they're running also seem to indicate that they care for the state, that they're going to provide all these jobs, 34,000 jobs. There are similar-sized casinos run by Penn National, one of the same companies promoting gambling right now in Ohio, that have no more than 1,000 employees maximum. So you talk about 4 casinos, and after the construction's done, you're looking at possibly 3,500 to 4,000 jobs. It's pretty difficult to say that we care for Ohio and we're going to provide all of these jobs and we're going to sort of rescue the state from its economic woes, when the reality is that it's simply not going to deliver. So the only conclusion you can come to is that they really don't care, in spite of what they say. My personal position on this matter is this: if you have no other reason that you can see to vote against issue 3, it ought to be this concern about using our Constitution to create a monopoly for 2 entities, 2 different owners. That's nonsensical. That the state would allow, that the citizens of the state of Ohio would allow a monopoly, a business monopoly, to be written into our Constitution. The Constitution should function as a document that sets out broad principles of how we will live together, how we will be governed, and to create a business monopoly within the Constitution just does not make any sense, and I think sets a precedent that will be very, very dangerous for the state going forward.
I find it disturbing that it's writing in a monopoly for a business in the Constitution, first of all, and the terms of that, people who study it say that it's really not a very good contract even if we wanted to do it. So on one hand, we should not even put it in the Constitution. Why would we do that? To let a private monopoly be in our Constitution. And second of all, if you're going to do that, you ought to have good terms. But the tax rate, their ability to make all the decisions about what kinds of gambling are not clarified. And so it's bad at 2 counts.
Bishop Hopkins is exactly right. What's frightening is that the persons that would benefit from this economically have been allowed to write the language, and that the state, if it were really concerned about generating revenue, is not putting this matter out to bid.
Well, I think that citizens of Ohio ought to necessarily vote no on issue 3 because it creates bad public policy for the state of Ohio. Anytime a state uses gambling to support its ongoing revenue, it makes the state a promoter of gambling. And when those revenues fall off, then the state gets into a position where they're actually telling their citizens that they need to do addictive behavior in order to promote those revenues. So I strongly urge our citizens to vote no.
I agree that this is a time for United Methodists in Ohio and all the citizens of Ohio to step up and say, we want good government in Ohio. We do not want to go down a path that is going to create a shaky foundation for having a sound economic practices in this state. But quite apart from that, which is significant, I think out of our tradition, out of our particular United Methodist tradition, this is an opportunity for us to say, you know, we actually are going to practice what we say we believe. We are going to be people that are in our communities, involved in the life of our neighborhoods and in our state, that truly do no harm, and will not allow anything to be created that will do harm. That we're going to do all the good we can, and that we are going to walk a pathway of staying in love with God and staying in love with our neighbors. And I don't think you can stay in love with your neighbors if you create a system that's going to exploit some of those very neighbors.
I think it's also important that we encourage people to get out and vote. A lot of times people will take a position, but on an election that doesn't have a major consequence in terms of electing legislators at the national level, people don't turn out for the election. It's very important that people who have strong feelings on this issue get out and vote.
Vote no on issue 3.